Today we enter the holiest period of the year, Holy Week. Jesus has arrived in Jerusalem, and ever since his birth, his sights have been set on this holy city. He was born in Bethlehem, the house of bread, in a feeding trough. In these early years, he was already prepared to become our spiritual food, which could only happen through his passion, death, and resurrection. There's actually a painting by Lorenzo Lotto, and it's titled The Nativity. And in it, Jesus is in the manger, and his parents are looking down with joy. But behind them on the wall is a crucifix. And it's an odd thing to have in a nativity scene because it hadn't happened yet. But it shows that the birth of our Lord isn't separate from his death, that the infant born on the wood of the manger is the Messiah sacrificed on the wood of the cross, that the birth of our Lord anticipated the sorrow of his death and the joy of his resurrection, the work of our redemption. And we can see some of the effects of Christ's redeeming work just by the instruments he used, the manger and the cross. Both are made of wood, and both are made for a specific purpose. The manger was for feeding animals, and the cross was an instrument of execution. But what happens when both of these come into contact with Christ is that they're changed. They're transformed, and they become objects worthy of veneration. Now, Holy Week invites us to enter more deeply into the mysteries of Christ's passion, death, and resurrection. But we shouldn't see this invitation as just limited to this week. We're called to remain with Jesus throughout our lives on days of joy, like Palm Sunday or the resurrection, and days of sorrow, like the crucifixion. We have to be willing to accept the days of sorrow along with the days of joy, to not turn away from Jesus like the Jews did in the first gospel we heard today, or put Jesus to death by living a life of sin. And when we remain with Jesus, both in the good and bad times, we'll discover that every moment of our lives is an opportunity, an invitation to enter more fully into his life, to come into contact with Jesus by living our life as he did. And that constant contact with our Lord, like the manger and the cross, will transform us, and it'll make us ready for the glory of the resurrection.